They don't do anything fast, so.
No.
But, so like I said, I sent it to the gal that we always deal with, Eagle. So I'm hoping that, she'll either let me know, I sent her an email again, she'll let me know to send it on. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Just to get a number from Steve, I guess. Steve, do you have a number that you use for the DNR all the time? Because on that complaint, I sent it to Eagle, and then Rick says maybe we should have sent it to DNR.
Oh, on the White River? Yeah.
So before you go tonight, can you grab me a number and or email or something, and I'll send it out to them?
Yeah. I'll give you a number.
Because I told her, I said, if you aren't the right place, will you send this on or send me back who I should have known?
Well, I think Eagle is for the water part, but DNR is for the land part at the top.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought, maybe she could send it on, or at least let me know, because it's the one that different name than that girl had.
Oh, history. You're talking about with DNR?
No, with Eagle.
Oh. Yeah, I can't remember. But I know Kissery is the DNR person, and now her name is different. Her last name is different. She got married.
Okay.
And now she's an O'Brien. Remember from that huge long tie name? Now she's an O'Brien. Okay. That makes, but I don't know what if she changed her email or not, so.
You'll have to see me after the meeting.
Okay.
It was 4570, right? The total for the signs is 4570. 4,570. I mean, I can always look it up here. No, that's okay, that's what I thought. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
If you ever need to look at them, I fall off the face here, I'm the man who knows they are.
Hopefully no, yeah.
No, they did DNR down in the park. Eagle, with the pavilion, that's Eagle. Why would it be different than, because it's a park?
Because of the water table.
Oh, okay, okay.
Anything that has to do with water, Eagle.
Yeah, because I know they did on Pierce Road with that problem out there, the guy out in that hill, that was Eagle.
Just like somebody up on 176 did some landscaping and it messed with the water line there. If Eagle was that whole, but whoever did that, they were going to fix that.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call?
Okay, roll call, John Clark.
Here.
Rick Robertson.
Here.
Amanda Hunter.
Here.
Joan David.
Here.
Nancy Conley. All present and accounted for.
Okay. Approval of agenda?
I make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Work.
Motion by Hunter, supported by Clark to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried, 5-0. Approval of the July 18th minutes.
Motion to approve the July 18th minutes as presented. Support it.
Okay, motion by Robertson, supported by Clark to approve the July 18, 2023 minutes as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried, 5-0. Approval of the August 2nd, 2023 special meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes on August 2nd meeting, special meeting.
Support.
Motion by Clark, supported by Robertson to approve the August 2nd, 2023 special meeting minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried, 5-0. Public comments on action items. Approval of bills. Anybody have any questions on there? If not, a motion to approve.
I will make a motion to approve the bills as submitted.
Support.
Motion by Hunter, supported by Robertson to approve the bills. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried, 5-0. Treasurer's report.
Alright, so for last month, we had one of the, payments for, that should have gone in with the normal general fund deposits got accidentally entered into the treasury account, so hence the yellow highlights on everybody's paper. I added those back in to make sure that the totals were all balanced properly. So the, at the end of the month, the balance on the general money market fund showed $865,833.31. The general fund checking, had an end balance of $1,120.76. When adding back in that $2,825 that was accidentally entered into the treasury accounts, our total amount of money, or our total amount of cash available for the end of last month was $869,779.07. In our treasury accounts, we have $64,365.55. We took in $6,114 in deposits last month, and we paid bills of $48,170.12. A couple other things I wanted to update you guys on was the QuickBooks Online, so I did get all of that transferred over. I just started the QuickBooks Online last week, so you'll see that that is being charged on the bills this month. So the first 3 months will be $15, and then it'll go to $30 a month. So far, that's working wonderfully. Everything's transferring back and forth properly. And I think that was all I had for the report.
Okay.
Any questions on any of it?
Okay, correspondence.
I did get, one thing, it was in my box about the local community stabilization authority. We do get funds from them every year. This year, it looks like they overpaid us $22.47. So instead of us sending back a check to them, they are going to just take it out of what they owe us for next year's. So next year's payment will be $22.47 less than what it would have been to pay that back.
What do we normally get from them?
we should have gotten $5,890.97, but we did get $5,913.44. So it's roughly around, 50, anywhere between 5 and 6 grand.
We did end up with a letter from the liability and property pool for workman's comp, which we normally pay quite a bit into and easy to get dividends, and we ended up getting member dividends again this year. Stuck this in the box, it was $214.50, which isn't only a small little bit of change out of what we pay them, but they do pay that dividend, so we did receive that this year.
And we have an invitation to Oceana Gardens too for an open house. They're having an open house Saturday, August 19th from noon to 4 for people that live in Newfield Township, age 21 and older only. You can take tours, meet the owners, ask questions. They'll have food and drinks there. So if anybody has ever wondered how the operation is, if you're over 21 and you're free, you might want to go up there and check that out. And also I got a check just today from DTE for $3,700, but I'm not sure why, so we'll, I'm not going to complain about it, but we can't cash it till we know what it's for.
It might have been taxes. No, DTE.
No.
It's for the gas company.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rick was wondering because they did that survey, not Rick, Steve, doing that survey about putting gas through. Maybe they have to pay like a franchise if they're gonna use your property or something.
That could be.
But there was nothing in there stating what it was for,
Okay.
not on the check or a letter, so we'll have to find out what that's all about.
Alright.
Okay. Business items. Amanda had brought up some information last month about TextMyGov. I don't know if anybody's had a chance to see it. They do offer some good things, but there's a lot of things that are geared more towards bigger townships in that, and I don't like their package price.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't like their package price either. So currently their package price is $3,500 a year plus the implementation or setup fee, which is $1,750. That's a one-time fee. So they are willing to work with us on the price. And I've got a meeting with them next Tuesday at 11 o'clock to go over more about the price details and everything. But I had a meeting with them last week, and they kind of showed me the whole program. They showed me the back end of things, how we enter things in, and gave me a quick little demonstration. It was really cool to see. If you guys are interested in seeing that for yourself, let me know. I can get you in contact with the guy that got in contact with me. But basically what it is a system where we can hopefully help to reduce some phone calls. People can text in, so instead of having to search the website, which is so difficult, yeah, me and my sarcasm, sorry. They can text a phone number instead. So instead of going on the website and saying, hey, when and where can I pay taxes? All they have to do is type taxes to said number, and it will automatically send them back with a text message that shows them the link where they can pay them online. It can send contact information. For me, how to get in contact with me, my office hours, kind of however we have it set up. So the same type of thing with, do we have any elections coming up? And then it could give them information on upcoming elections. It can either link them to our website, or we can just say, there's an election on, in November for this. We can also, and this is the part that I was most interested in, is we can text them. So if they sign up for the service, we can text everybody within that group that signed up for the service saying, hey, our office hours are closed today. The recycling center is going to be closed today. Taxes are due September 15th, don't forget. You can send out notifications saying, the road is gonna be closed because it's under construction, or gas line broke, or, you know, whatever. So you can either have them scheduled well in advance, or you can send them out immediately. And I figured that's how we would want to utilize it more, because I know one of the biggest issues in the community was communication. They don't have that communication. So, and just like we had earlier, Nancy got a message on her phone, you know, an emergency message for Croton Dam. This is the same type of thing that we could do. It wouldn't come across as obvious, but it would come across as a text message to whoever's opted into the program. I like what it offers. One of the other things that it offers that I don't see us using is a reporting feature. So if somebody sees that there's a limb down in the road somewhere, they can text us and say, hey, there's a limb down in the road. I don't see that that's really something that we need to utilize.
But could it connect them to the road
We could
commission?
have it connect them to
The
that.
road commission.
But I can tell you right now that if I tell them we want that feature, we're gonna end up probably paying the full amount. Because I texted him earlier, I messaged him earlier and said, hey, we're not gonna we likely wouldn't use this feature. He's like, well, if you're not gonna use all the features, we can probably, you know, bring down the price.
Okay.
So, I guess, is it something that we're interested in, if I can get a good enough price? Is it something that we're like, yeah, this is great, but we're really not a big enough township, because I can understand that too. I was talking to my husband about it, and at the current price of $3,500 a year, he's like, is it worth $10 a day? Not really, no.
Then too, probably half of the stuff we never use, you know. You
See,
gotta
and
look
that's
at that
another
way.
thing, how many people in our community would actually utilize it?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people can text where they can't use, they don't have internet service.
Right.
I do know that works on mine too. The stuff that's going in through the village, that group with Julie Burrell, where they're notifying, is this gonna be something like what Julie, they're trying to put into for notification?
Not exactly,
Okay.
because hers, I believe, is a quarterly newsletter. This would be 24/7, anybody
So
can
it's not a
text it.
daily thing with them, that's just the newsletter right now?
I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought it was a quarterly newsletter.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
so it's not gonna send out a reminder of, you know, hey, there's an election today, or
right,
a notification of, don't forget, your taxes are due next week. If you don't pay them, they're going delinquent to the county.
right.
You know, and I don't know if we'd wanna send stuff like that out or not, that'd be something we discuss further down the road, but those are just options of things that we could do.
Like you say, you can check on it, but like you say, we probably only do half, but if they can cut us a decent price, you know.
Yeah, and that's what I was like, is it something that sounds like we might be interested in if we can get the right price? Or are we looking at this as, it's not gonna be utilized, let's not waste our time trying to, you know, cut them down on price?
Well,
This
see,
is-
see if they'll prorate it, you know, see if they will prorate it for us, and, you know, come back with that. That's my feeling on it, because
Okay.
people live by their phones now. They keep track of everything my kids keep track of everything on their phone, so, you know, that is different than what I do. I still write notes. I'm like the lady that writes the note on her phone, and she actually writes the note and sticks it to her phone. So, you know, but check and see, you know,
Okay.
it
Just
might
bring it
be,
back next
yeah,
month.
they could give us.
Does anybody, want a demonstration on it? Do you want me to see if we can have a demonstration at the next board meeting on it? So you guys can see how it works, or you guys don't care?
Let's wait and see what they tell you on the price.
Yeah, kind of pick and choose on what you think we would use.
Okay.
Cause there's a lot of stuff on here when it talks about buying tickets and then,
You're not. we're
oh,
not-
and about festival parking and
Yeah.
sporting events, and that's more for like bigger townships, bigger cities.
Exactly, it's mainly for, like, I think it's mainly for cities and stuff.
Then too, if we do this, we're locked in, right?
For
You're
2
locked in
years.
for 2 years,
2
yes.
years.
So
Well, check and see with them, you know. I mean, they may have a price for smaller
Well,
municipalities.
they base the price off of, population. So our population's roughly 2,000, give or take. So that's what they base this price on. However, I don't honestly see 2,000 people utilizing this service. I would say if we had 1,000 people utilize this service, we'd be doing
Yeah,
fantastic.
I would.
So
say
I'm hoping to have them cut
700
the
to
price in half,
1,000,
yeah.
Okay. I'll
So,
come back with
I will
some-
bring it back next month, but, I just wanted to bring it up to you guys, cause if you guys are like, yeah, no, I don't think we're gonna use this at all, I'm not gonna waste my time
No,
or
I think it's
anything,
worthwhile
so.
looking into.
Okay. Alright,
Okay, thank you. Next is used office furniture. Michael had put it online, and the only thing that we were able to sell was the big table up here. So he wants to know if we want him to post it and take sealed bids and then just take the highest bid, or and then if there's no interest, we can use it for scrap. I don't know if there's any places that, we could even donate it to. I don't know.
Maybe when we go to close bids, somebody will ask for donate, if you wanna donate it.
Yeah. So do you want him to put it back out there at the price we have, or to do it as take sealed bids? Because we can't hardly walk back there, and that drives me insane. I moved stuff around in there a week or two ago just so I can.
Seal bids, and
Yeah.
if not, then
Yeah, cause there's
Sell
two
it for
credenzas
scrap or
and 3
whatever.
desks, if anybody's interested.
are we advertising anywhere for the sealed bids? Are we gonna advertise in highlights or anything?
I think we should advertise in the highlights.
Okay. I like the idea of doing sealed bids,
I do too.
so, but I do think we need more advertising, cause I think that was the biggest issue, is people don't check our website, and it was on our website,
Yeah.
so.
don't know
Well,
what
we
we
go
got,
see
or
bids, they might take right off,
Mhm. So I say we do sealed bids and we advertise it in the highlights, and, I say we open the sealed bids at our September meeting. Do I need to make a motion for that?
Yes, please.
I'll make a motion to accept sealed bids for the office furniture, that we're trying to sell. And make a motion, or included in my motion to have it advertised in the highlights, and for the sealed bids to be, opened at our next board meeting. Do we need to have a cutoff
So
date?
have a deadline.
Have a deadline 24 hours before our next board meeting.
I'll support it.
So they have to be, to us by 5 o'clock on September 18th.
by 5 o'clock on,
September 18th.
Yes.
Okay, motion by Hunter, supported by Clark to advertise for sealed bids and also have it in the highlights, and the deadline would be 5 o'clock on 9/18, so we can open them up at the meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried 5-0. Okay, nothing for new business. Reports, MTA, I have an MTA meeting next Tuesday, and we'll be discussing what we're gonna have on our agenda and that for our, September meeting. We had, at our last meeting, we had, Brian Coffey there from MSU Extension talking about solar energy and what we need to do with our, ordinance and our master plan as far as that. And we had, Mr. Bumstead and Vanderwall there, which they are really good supporting the MTA, and so they're always there for questions, so. So if there's ever anything that, you think would be good to have somebody come in and present at one of the meetings, let me know, and we will get hold of people to come in and do that. Michael's not here for planning commission, so Steve, if you wanna let us know about last week?
Basically, in July, we had, the end of July, we had a, what's called a visioning session with Jeff Kiesler from McKenna, who's our consultants for working on the master plan. We invited business and faith community leaders and both our board and our planning commission to do what they call a SWOT analysis, which is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. It was very nice. It was catered and, by Michael, and it was, I thought it was very, very good discussions, and Jeff got a lot of notes out of that. We had our meeting then in August, and we set dates for our public input sessions. We will have 2 public input sessions that Jeff will lead to get people's input for the master plan. We also discussed we'll have an online survey that people can complete as well. The way it'll be done, folks can only fill it out once. There was some concern about people doing more than one survey and kind of spamming the system, but they have a way that they can tell that it's coming from a device, and once that device is used to submit a survey, that'll be it. So that keeps that at bay. Jeff got some feedback from the board and from the planning commission, and the online survey should be ready by the beginning of September. September 21st, which is a Thursday, will be the evening public input session. And then Saturday, the 30th, will be a Saturday public input session so that we can catch people who work on different shifts. And I think that'll be real helpful.
Okay, thank you. Rick, got anything to report?
Nothing really going on other than this week is my week to do inspections on facilities, but no complaints of anything to follow up on, so just our normal inspections.
Okay, thank you. Dennis?
I had one cremation burial for the month, and I've got 2 headstone basins on order, and Steve and I was down in Muskegon there a while ago, we were picking them up, and they weren't done yet. So that's done over a month, so I know what's going on down there. And I had to purchase some more weed killer, and Township hasn't bought any since Jim was a sex, and the last 2.5 gallons was donated by Mark Burrell. And we have just very little. That was kind of expensive. That'll last for a couple of years. And then keep mowing grass.
Raining and mowing grass.
That's it.
Okay, thank you. And by expensive, it was $99.99.
Yeah.
But it'll do the job and it'll last a long time.
Everything went up in price, but the last stuff was given to us, so we like that.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, we get a lot of donations, which is very nice. Okay, zoning.
Okay. We had 3 new permits issued last month. A lot of phone calls. It looks like, we're gonna have at least, I can do this. At least 1 more new house on McLaren Lake over on Durham Road, going in probably later this year or early next year. Plus a big addition right next door to that. So that's kind of nice. We had 18 people call about either additions or pole barns or something of that nature last month. We only had 1 complaint last month, so that was kind of nice. The big problem we've had is we've been having a difficulty getting a hold of our attorney to review the changes to the civil infraction and blight and public safety ordinance. We finally heard from them last Friday, and I got a markup on what we sent them on those two, and we, Joan and I have a conference call scheduled for tomorrow to go through his markup with him. Most of it was pretty minor. It was just citing a particular section of law, okay, I made a couple grammar errors and spelling errors that he pointed out. So those are pretty easy to correct. Probably the biggest question was that we took most of this from the Shelby Township ordinance and another township ordinance. But he had he had changed, the idea is you have a violation bureau that people can appeal to right locally before it goes to court or to the magistrate. And he had changed that to having the prosecuting attorney or the township's attorney recommending issuing a citation, and I don't understand that. That seems to be a lot of expense, and part of the reason for changing this is to cut down the expense in bringing a citation to fruition. Because under civil infraction, people can request an informal hearing in front of the magistrate. If they do so, there's no attorneys involved, and that just saves us a whole lot of money, given that it's $500-600 to have an attorney prosecute a citation in court. So hope to get that wrapped up. And because we really need to get on some of these violations, I am proposing that we publish a notice of a special meeting and do a special meeting on Thursday, September 7th, to go through the ordinance, and then I'd have that to everyone weigh it in advance, and we can either go up or down on it, but this way we can proceed, because right now we're kind of just sitting and not doing anything.
The planning commission special meeting?
No,
Board special meeting?
Yeah. Blight and public safety goes through the board, not the planning commission.
Why don't we just have it on the regular board meeting day? It's only a week and a half later.
We can. My thought was that right now we have several violations that really need to either move forward or not, and we keep on pushing this back. So I prefer to get this done. Some of the people who have had letters from me on violations, some who disagree, they kind of like to see it done also, and that's why I thought we'd move this up as quick as possible.
When's the September meeting again?
The 19th.
So you're not
So
2 weeks
it's-
out.
Well, it's a week and a half, yeah.
And when's the next planning commission meeting?
The next planning commission meeting is, well, there's a question about that, if it's gonna be in September or October.
It's scheduled for October.
So it is, yeah. But it was posted as September, so it's gonna have to be decided.
Okay.
We are talking about also having a special meeting on the planning commission for September 7th on a zoning request. So we'll see, that hasn't been written in stone yet.
So there's possibility of a
Two of them.
planning commission meeting and then going
Yeah,
into
my thought
the
was
board
is that-
meeting
is
and-
that, yeah, as long as we gotta do that, and we gotta publish notice, we do the whole thing in one evening. Have a public hearing for both the rezoning and the ordinance change, and then go into session for the planning commission. They'd have one issue to deal with, it'd be real quick. They adjourn, and 5 minutes later, the board goes into session. And it just gets things much more efficient.
this same time, Steve, 7 or
Well, do the public hearing at 6:30?
6:30?
Yeah.
Well, a public hearing has to be part of a meeting.
Has to be what a
It
minute?
has to be part of the meeting.
Public hearings have changed.
Your public hearing can't be before the meeting, it has to be during the meeting.
So it has to be part of the planning commission meeting that night.
Yeah, if they're doing that, yeah.
All right. All right, so you could do it that way also. And you could do your public hearing, planning commission, public hearing, or still gonna time out about the same.
I don't know, I just don't see why we were not waiting the extra week and a half to just do it on a normal board meeting night. It just seems to add extra hassle to our paperwork, you know, to everything, but that's my thought.
So what's everybody think?
Well, we've got two things coming up on this, with the public hearing as part of the planning commission, and then for the regular board meeting. If by doing this on a different night, it will take some of the time off from the regular board meeting, if we can accomplish two things at a special, that night might be worth.
Well, it would be two separate meetings, you'd have
Well, yeah,
one
but I
for
mean,
planning.
they'd be right back to back.
They would be the same
And
night.
that'd be taken care of. I say go with the special board meeting
Sep-
and that special planning commission that
That's
same night.
September 7th at 6:30, right?
Right.
Yeah, 6:30 would be planning commission, then 7 o'clock would be township.
You gonna put the notices in, Steve?
Yeah.
So you're making a motion,
I make
Nancy?
a motion to go ahead and do a special planning commission meeting to cover both things, and followed by, at 6:30, followed by a township board meeting at 7 to cover a special meeting to cover.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll support it.
Okay, motion by Conley, supported by Clark, to have the special meeting of the planning commission and the township board beginning at 6:30 on Thursday, September 7th. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried 5-0.
Okay, last thing on my list, which is much more fun, is on Saturday, September 9th. September's gonna be a busy month. Is our fall cleanup day. Dumpsters are ordered, Mike Mail's been contacted, for smushing the stuff down. And if anyone's interested in volunteering to help out, we go from 8 to 1, or when the dumpsters are filled. And we always cheerfully encourage volunteers, and there's always very delicious refreshments being served also. So, mark it on your calendars.
You said that's a night, Steve?
Yeah, there is.
From 8 till 1,
Until 1, or the dumpsters get.
right.
Okay, thank you. Roads. So they've got all the way around Hightower Lake done now. They came back and they did the sides and that. They have Baker Road done. And, Yonker from 192nd to 186th. And then 186 from Yonker to the dead end. Mike brought his equipment in today to start removing the asphalt here. API has us on the schedule to do our parking lot hopefully next Wednesday, but once Mike get all the stuff off and grade it out here, Ken's gonna come in and look to make sure everything's exactly how it has to be before they come in. When they do come in, they're going to do a 1.5 inch and a 1.5 inch, so they'll do 1.5 inch one day, they'll have it blocked off, so nobody's gonna be able to drive in here, but I made sure it wasn't on a Monday or Tuesday.
Oh, we can walk on the grass.
So if anybody, comes in to put their taxes in the box or something, they'll have to park along the road and walk up here. So they'll do 1.5 inches, then they'll come back and do the other 1.5, and then once that's all done, we'll, see about painting lines out here. John's almost done out there. Our fencing out there is almost done except for the gates.
They're being made. And when Mike and Mike, they had to glue the business together, do the approach for the recycle center, because we're paving the parking lot, then the approach will be paved too. And we talked to Rob Forbes, who's done all of our plowing the last few years. We've been very happy with Rob. Came out the other day because I told him looks like the recycle center will be open Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturday mornings. Might mean a little bit more plowing for him in the winter. And he said no problem, he would take it on. So that's kind of where we're at right now. We're waiting for the signage and the gates. The dumpsters are having the lids put on and the signage put on them in Newego. So it's all like hinged around the big, they'll probably get the gates done when they're pouring the asphalt on the parking lots, Mike.
Hopefully it'll get
That's the
done
way it
before
usually goes.
Yeah.
But,
So as far as roads and that, and brining, they should be doing their second, coat of brining, hopefully within the next 2 weeks. So that's it for,
Any update on 176?
have we heard
they're,
that? I haven't-
they're on, it's on the schedule,
Okay.
it's on the schedule.
I got one too.
I
Joe.
talked to him a couple weeks ago about it. So-
What'd you hear on Fish Road? Did you get with the
Oh,
Heart? on
yeah,
that?
we'll get that.
Are they still debating
Well-
what they're gonna do?
We gotta figure out something, because we don't want it to where the road commission doesn't do anything at all on it.
Right, 'cause like Sandy said, they plow up to the
Right,
church there.
and plus Newfield, our property goes all the way up to there, and like Mike had mentioned, wonder if eventually we have to start accessing it from, it's gonna be
Right.
years down the road, and then Slater's has property up there. So, trying to figure out a way that we can put up a sign saying,
Right.
but you can't put private, because then the
So
road
mainly-
commission's gonna be like, oh, it's private, we're not doing
It was
anything with it.
mainly by Repogos, right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, because it sounds like the biggest problem was 4th of July, people were driving up there, and then they were even going up by their barn, which that has nothing to do with the road
Right.
really, but, must be they just pulling in there, watching the fireworks from there, but,
Partying, you never know.
but I'm sure it happens other times of the
Oh,
year
yeah.
too, for her to, want something done, so I'm still working on that, hopefully by our next meeting, we'll have that taken care of and that. So do we have anybody with public comments?
Yeah, I have one on the, just lost the term, civil infraction ordinance. I think the attorney's idea as far as having a prosecuting attorney involved on infractions is a very good idea. I'm one of the people that has, a letter from Steve that he's gonna issue another civil infraction on me, which I think is just try to intimidate me to be quiet about issues. But, I've talked to a lawyer, he's ready and waiting for the civil infraction to be issued. But it could save the township a lot of trouble if you have the prosecuting attorney look at it and say, no, this is out of line. Save face for you guys, just my opinion.
Okay, any other public comments? Okay, supervisors report. Sandy, did, Bob happen to get hold of you about storage?
the truck here.
Oh, he did? Okay,
Sunday.
all right, good. So Sandy was kind enough to offer one of the buildings on her property to house the fire truck that was sitting out back, and we didn't really want it out there in the elements. I mean, that's how things rust and all that. You get all that moisture under there all the time, especially at night. We didn't want it out there in the weather and that, and Sandy was kind enough to offer that, so, I had Bob go and talk with her about it, and that's where it's at. So thank you very much for your kindness. I appreciate that. We all appreciate that. Also talked to Diane Hazen, who, donated money for books for our book house out there. She's also donating, some benches to the township that, I'm hoping we can put out by the recycling. Dennis and I are gonna go get those, and as a thank you to her for donating the money in the benches, Dennis and I are going to, and if anybody wants to join, we're gonna remove, grapevines and sumac from her property that's overgrowing there, so that's gonna be our thank you to her, is
Any
doing
volunteers?
yard
wanna help?
cleanup, so, yeah, if anybody, I'm not gonna turn anybody away if they wanna help do that. So, so that's our thank you to her, we're just gonna do some yard work for her. The fire department had 23 runs last month, 22 of them were medical, and one was a assist to another, department. We had thought we were gonna have 18 fire personnel, and I say personnel because I believe there are at least 2 female firefighters. But one of them moved back to Walkerville, so he's back on the Walkerville Fire Department, so we have 17 firefighters for our township, which is awesome. I want to thank Allie for the wonderful painting job that she did, and how fast she did it, and
Put all the pictures in.
everything was taken down, and as soon as the paint dried, everything was back up, and everything I think was done in 2 days, and it looks awesome. It feels better in here, it looks better in here, and thank you for a job well done. And I've also checked into the perpetual care fund. I know that by law, you can only spend interest, and we have such a small amount in there, there isn't much interest. And to be honest with you, does anybody know which lots out there are supposed to get perpetual?
I bet you do.
Well, there's supposed to be little markers out there if they're perpetual, and there's one out there that's in section A, and it's from probably 80 years ago. But I believe, and I'm looking into this, and I don't know if maybe you know, but if you do, I think it's a resolution, if you do a perpetual care resolution, then you can do something with the money other than just the interest. So, have you heard anything about that?
I haven't.
Have you?
Never heard.
Okay.
All I've ever heard was
So I
that you
would say
can't
check
spend
with the
it,
lawyer.
you just
Yeah.
have to.
Yeah.
Check with John. Jones, you're gonna be on the phone with him anyway.
Yeah, so, and there's, Cindy, what's Cindy's name? Cindy from MTA,
Mhm.
and there's one other lady that, they know every rule there is about, cemeteries inside and out, that we can get hold of too. So there's a possibility that we're gonna be able to do something with perpetual care funds, so we can do something so it's not just sitting there. And the only other thing I wanted to mention is I had a couple people ask me about things, about the township board suing people and getting thrown out of court, but I don't know who, you know, why that's being said or why that's going around, but the township has not sued anybody, and nothing's been thrown out of court other than the, what myself and the board were sued for was thrown out. So I just wanted people to know that the board is not out suing people. And the civil infraction that Jim, you are referring to, I'm assuming it's your windmill? Is that what no, it's not? Okay.
No, it's
'Cause-
another one.
Okay, well, because, I just wanted to let you know that there was a complaint on you way back before any of the nonsense started between, people, and we denied it and denied it and denied it. And I said, we will not follow through on anything unless it's in writing. Well, by the time the person making the complaint did it in writing is when all the commotion and the pointing fingers and that, so it wasn't you getting the infraction and all that because we were trying to get back at you and make a point. It was, we put it off and put it off because I refused to have anybody act on it because it wasn't in writing, so.
No, this is a totally good separate one.
Okay. Is there any board discussion?
Yeah, I don't know what Linda brought up about the ball field.
Oh,
Did you get with Forbes or?
well, I need to, Jeff was, I was trying to get hold of Jeff, and I think the property is actually under Bruce's name, and he doesn't live here, so, but I can go through Jeff and that, but my thought was, because Forbes, we're talking about, they wanna, Xerox is done with their, contract with that property on the west side of the fire department. And we have 2 acres on the north side of the fire department. So my thought was, because there's no other place to do this, but my thought was, the 2 acres that is the township could be used for parking. And I thought that maybe, the Forbes would be willing to put 3 or 4 regulation softball, baseball fields up on the east end of their property, so they can still sell the rest of it.
Right.
And then maybe they could name it Forbes Fields
Yeah,
or
that's a good
something.
idea.
That way, people will know it's their property, they're doing it and whatnot, but, I still have to find out about insurance things. And
Yeah.
I think that if they did that, even though it would be, 2 acres would be the townships and however many acres would be
Right.
Forbes,
Okay.
I think, the Little League would have to pay for the insurance.
Little League that has to carry their own
Okay,
liability.
I mean,
And
we
they've
had-
lost the ball fields by the
Yeah, we
Catholic
lost
Church.
all the ball fields by the
That was
church.
all sold.
by the
So
church
actually, they're
and,
down to-
and by
down
the,
to
and, Hall,
3 fields.
the Arconic
The
Lodge,
lighthouse.
yeah,
that they,
So,
Amish or something.
the
bought.
Amish bought that,
About what?
The
the,
lighthouse, I heard the
down
Amish
behind
bought.
Arconic Lodge.
Oh, okay.
So they've lost 3 fields. So the only fields that they have right now is the 2 downtown by the dam, and then the 2 at the high school, but then they have to work around.
Right, usually the high school, don't they play on them? At the
They
school?
play, well, they're usually done
Usually
by the
June,
end of school,
First part of June,
yeah.
first week of June, we're done.
But then the older kids, but then the majors and minors, I don't think start until like July.
That's the juniors.
Juniors.
The majors are done by the latter part, or first part of June too, so they
Oh.
they're during the season.
Okay, so the majors, half of their season is during high school, so they wouldn't be able to use it. So they might have a couple of weeks, and then the juniors, and I don't even know if they have a senior team, I know we always had to
They have
fight to get
juniors
enough.
in a couple years for girls.
So it would work out for the junior league and senior league if they have it to be up there, but otherwise, there's a conflict for half the
At
season.
first, I heard they had just one field at the Catholic Church, but apparently we don't have it now.
No, we lost both fields.
Also,
Yeah.
There's 2 fields we lost
Yep.
both.
It's all been sold.
The only other,
The problem we run into with the fields down at the dam, they're not regulation for our juniors and stuff, because the pitcher's mound bases are different, so
Yeah.
therefore they have to use the varsity field.
yeah, and the only other field that I know of is behind the, what's the name of the church, up on Smith Street, but that is just for,
Well, the Baptist,
Behind the
Yeah.
former Baptist church.
yeah.
I don't even know if that.
But I
was
don't,
used anymore.
I don't even know if it gets used, I
Okay.
doubt it, I doubt if
It
it's,
says they use it.
No,
I doubt if
don't
it's
know.
regulation, but the real little, like T-ball and that could probably use it.
It's T-ball,
Oh, okay,
coach pitch.
Coach it.
yeah, so,
yeah, it'd be worth, it'd be kind of.
so I'm hoping that
Yeah.
Forbes would, I mean, that would be nice, and they could put in, we could put in a driveway alongside of the fire department, so nobody's
Right.
using their driveway, and then, like I said, if we could, they could drive back and use the township property for parking and that, so. So I'm still working on that, so tell Kayla I haven't forgot about it.
No,
And that, so is there any other board discussion? So for agenda for next meeting, I have on there, for those 2 policies, if you guys could look through those, and then we'll see what Amanda comes back with on Text My Gov, and then hopefully we'll have some sealed bids So those three things I'll have on the agenda, if
And
there's,
auditor, we need to look at a new auditor. We're having some difficulties with our current auditor, so I'm gonna hopefully bring quotes back next month
So you're
to do,
getting 3 quotes
or more.
or
yeah.
more.
well, it's probably gonna be hard to find 3 or more quotes, because she's gotta find somebody that is government oriented, and
I've
there's.
already got
Oh,
at
you
least
got
4
them? Oh,
names,
okay.
and then I've got a couple that I saw in the magazine
Oh.
that I was gonna reach out to, so.
Nice.
I've got quite a few that I can reach out to, I
Oh,
just have to
Yeah.
make sure that they can get me a quote in time.
Okay, sounds good.
But yeah,
And then coordinate with me on that
what's that?
65, that mini audit that we're set up to do this year. Stuff has to be in by the end of September, so let me know kinda what you're finding out,
Okay.
if we should.
We might end up having to put that on the, September 7th meeting if I get quotes by then.
Okay.
We might have to add that
Because
to
that
the
has to
agenda
be
on that.
filed, I think I have to have the stuff with them by the end of September, before the end of September.
So when are they planning on coming in and doing this audit?
Well, it was gonna be a mini one, I just download what they need and send it to them. This year is the year for the mini one, so,
Okay,
you know, so let's just coordinate on that.
yeah.
Okay, if nothing else, then can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, motion by Clark, supported by Hunter, to adjourn at, what is it, 7:52, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried 5-0.